Hi, I'm Lisa from BeginProofreading.com, and welcome to day 4 of the 7-day proofreading boot camp. So today we're going to go on to part 2 of how you can find work. Again, this is for proofreaders who are freelancers and who work for private individuals or maybe publishing companies or maybe even different corporations or small businesses. If you work full-time or even part-time for a publisher, this probably won't apply to you quite as much, but take what you can learn from it anyhow and put it into your practice as best you can. Where do you find work? This is the million-dollar question. We've covered this a little bit, but it certainly is the most asked question in the industry and in our proofreading groups, so we're going to just keep going over it and touching on it until to help you guys find more jobs and get more work. In this day and age, it is easier than ever to find remote work and to do really well in this industry. At the same time, more than ever, people sadly do seem to think that others should hold their hand and help them find that work, and that's not really the case. So I will give you some suggestions, but if you want to have someone coach you, that's great, but you do need to expect to pay for coaching because it is very time consuming, number one, and number two, you are taking advantage and getting the benefit of the seasoned editors or proofreaders' experience. And honestly, I'm going to be blunt here. I know that will shock you. None of you have ever seen me be blunt before. But if you can't figure out how to find clients, then you really cannot effectively run your own proofreading business, at least not full time. So you will need to find other part-time work, maybe driving for Uber, working at Starbucks, substitute teaching, teaching other kind of independent classes, music classes, Spanish or language lessons, art classes, whatever you can come up with. Here's my personal story. Before I began editing and proofreading full-time, I did do some content writing and substitute teaching. The pay for both of those was horrible, and I barely made minimum wage, but I had 2 teen boys, and both of them liked to eat. So I had to do what I had to do until I could pull together enough clients to run a viable proofreading business. On the days that I substituted, I worked from 8 to 3 or 3:30. Then I came home and I went back to work on my editing business. I was marketing and looking for editing jobs and proofreading jobs as soon as I got home from being at work all day. I had to scour the internet for possible jobs. I didn't do that for 5 or 10 minutes and give up. I spent time looking for work at least for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and looking for work, applying for jobs, sending in resumes, sending in applications. And then after I was done with that, then I went to work on paying projects. So if you do the math, I was at school substitute teaching for 7 or 8 hours. I came home, I was working on marketing for an hour or two, and then I went to work basically until I fell over from exhaustion because I was so tired. And in the meantime, I took care of what my kids needed, fed them, helped them with homework, and so forth. So my point here is that working in this business and making a viable career out of proofreading and editing is not for the faint of heart. You will have to put in a lot of work unless you end up working for a publisher or another company and you have a lot of stable work from them. Do not overlook networking with other editors. This is really, really important. Years ago, in an interesting twist of events, I was in a writing group online and I was in discussion with an author who seemed to think that he was God's gift to the world and that he knew everything there was to know about writing and editing. I don't even remember his name now. If you gave me a multiple choice question and you put his name in with 5 names, I wouldn't be able to pick it out. But what was life-changing for me literally about that day was that another editor happened to join the conversation. And we connected, then we messaged each other. She happened to know a whole bunch of other editors still, and she offered to connect me with them. I thought, aren't I in competition with all these people? Wrong. I was not in competition with all those people. 1,000 times no. I was their colleague. They were there to strengthen my skills. I was there to strengthen their skills. Some of them became friends. We talked on the phone. We even met in person. And the very first editor that I met who connected me with those people, well, she's referred several clients to me. And we've talked many times, as recently as a month ago, and I even edited a book that she wrote. Imagine that. Years and years later, we still have a great professional relationship. I'm really, really thankful that my entire mentality flipped and that I learned to view colleagues in this industry as friends and as people who could help me with my business, not as those who would take business away from me. So you will be able to access the next video of the 7-day proofreading bootcamp tomorrow. Don't forget to check back daily for new videos. Bye for now.